Welcome back. We continue live right here, Pittsburgh CW. Bob Pompeani and Ron Cook with you. Call us on the number you see. It's the Bordas and Bordas hotline. We also have tweets. Jared Stark says, I'm glad the Penguins not scoring on the 5-on-3 didn't come back to bite them in this game. Ron Matthews on Twitter says the Penguins now have a 6-game point streak, haven't lost a regulation in 2 weeks. And Steve, who's watching us from Michigan, hello Steve in Michigan, he says, big win, and it makes Saturday even bigger and more important for Columbus. And as Ron said, who knows if John Tortorella will survive this? They have mortgaged their future, brought in a bunch of guys they expected to not only get in, but go far. That may not happen. Ron, I want to ask you about the Steelers news of the day, and that is 2 guys Ben Roethlisberger really wanted to see signed were signed today. It was Marquise Pouncey, 3 years, $29 million or thereabouts. And then I was a little surprised Ramon Foster did not test free agency. He had the opportunity. He's made nice money, but certainly not with some of the other guards in the league. He decided to stay here.
Yeah, I was surprised too, especially after they tagged Finney yesterday at a pretty big number, and it looked like he might step into that guard spot. Ramon loves it here. He loves playing with Roethlisberger. He loves that line. He and Pouncey are so close. I thought maybe with Munchak leaving to go to Denver that might be a factor that Ramon would move on, because those guys just worshiped Munchak. But it's nice to know they're both back, and I knew Pouncey was going to get an extension. Ben told me late in the year, he said, I'll retire if he retires. And he even told me, he said, I want them to do his contract before mine, so I know he's here. And that's exactly what happened. I anticipate Ben will get his extension next week.
You know, it was funny, Joe Starkey this week on Monday when I was on with you guys made an interesting analogy about Antonio Brown thinks he's an NBA player, like he can control what goes on, and he's not. But if there is somebody close to that, it would be Ben Roethlisberger, and all quarterbacks, really. They determine a lot of what goes on, and I think GMs and coaches defer to quarterbacks. Why not? They're the people that are involved in just about every play there is offensively. So, all right, let's go to the lines. We begin in line 3. That's Mike in Weirton. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good tonight, guys.
Good.
Hey, I just got a couple comments about the Steelers. When Ben came on board, we went to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. We won 2 of them, lost 1. Right after that, what happened? He changed coaching staffs. After that...
No, that's not true. Mike Tomlin's there for 2 Super Bowls. They're 1-1. Or what are you talking about when you say change coaching staffs? What do you mean?
Got rid of LeBeau and got rid of
what? Arians? Okay. From coordinators then.
Okay. We ain't been back. Now, we haven't had any great defensive players except Paul Malo and Ron Woodson.
Yeah, I mean, they need help there. They really do.
They need help, but they need some defensive schemes that help those defensive backs.
All right. That's an argument. Well, you have a lot of schemes personnel.
You might remember the defense was pretty poor in LeBeau's last couple years here, too. It was time for him to move on. I'm not saying Keith Butler's the greatest thing since Chip Tam, but LeBeau's defense has faded, too, as the players got older. Troy got older. Troy wasn't nearly the same player he was his last 2 years here. It does come down to coaching, and a lot of that is to players, a lot of that is on Tomlin, because he and Kevin Colbert picked the team, and they haven't done a very good job with the defensive guys.
We have seen, Ron, a lot of guys out there in free agency now have been released, bigger name guys like Eric Weddle, like C.J. Mosley and others, Tyrone Matthews, a safety who's out there, younger, productive.
Not Weddle, though. Not Weddle.
Weddle's too old. He's 34. I get it. But he was productive. He's a good leader, blah, blah, blah. But Matthew interests me. But the other thing is I think it's time for them to spend some bigger money than they like to spend on a position. Like they thought John Bostic could come in and do something. And it didn't cost them a lot.
Right.
It didn't work. So is it?
Well, their philosophy is those to pay their own, Bob. They're going to tell you we're keeping Pouncey, we're keeping Ramon. Do you want to let those guys go and maybe pay more to bring somebody else in? They're up against the salary cap every year. It's not like they're way underneath it. It's not like they're saving money by not spending. They just choose to reward their own, and some of the draft choices they've made just haven't panned out.
No, I get that, but I also think every now and then you got to go out of your comfort zone a little bit here.
I'd love the Honey Badger to come in here. I would love Mosley to come in here. Weddle, I don't think so.
Line 2 we go. It's the Milkman from West Mifflin. Hey, Milkman, go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing? I want to change gears, talk about the Buccaneers. How about Cole Tucker?
Yeah, he looked good today. He's not going to be here this year, but He's one of their highest ranked
yeah,
prospects, and he had 2 home runs.
I'm Charles Hayes' kid.
Cabrian, he's
Cabrian
he's
Hayes.
considered their highest prospect with Mitch Keller. I don't know if either one of
Yeah,
those guys
and,
are ready now, but they have bright futures here. But as we well know, there's a big jump from AAA to the major leagues. Those guys are highly regarded.
Yeah, but a lot of people down there are high on Eric Gonzalez, the shortstop they acquired from Cleveland. He had a home run today, and he's got great range defensively, much more than anyone we've seen here in the last, with Jordy Mercer, who I love. Very steady, good guy to have around, but he didn't have the range that this guy has. We'll see if that helps. I still think the Pirates have enough pitching, Ron, where they could be a factor here, but they need a little bit more, and they at this point don't seem willing to go out and do it. And you're taking a chance on a lot of guys. Gung at third, the shortstop unknown. Frazier, can he play every day? Can Bell get back to where he was? Right. There are a lot of things that are iffy right now that could affect. And why not help it out if you have a chance to have this pitching staff?
I mean, I like the pitching staff a lot.
I do too.
The starters and the back end of the bullpen, but I don't like the lineup. I wonder where the power is going to come from. I know I say that on a day when they hit about 15 home runs today, but I don't like the power in the lineup. Polanco maybe. Let's see how he comes back, when he comes back. And I think Gung and as you said, Josh Bell, real keys.
Matt in Lake Shore, Pennsylvania. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, pretty good, thanks.
Good, go ahead.
Do you think that you pop up the categorical?
All right, let's go to Tim in Bloomfield.
Pretty intelligent caller there.
It was a different language. I understood him. Let's go to Tim. How are you, Tim?
Hey, you think Antonio Brown can get traded for one of your suits?
All right, fine.
I don't think he's worth it, to tell you the truth. I know what your suits are worth, Bob.
Let's try Glenn in Greenfield. Hey, Glenn, how are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going?
Good.
It's good.
Hey, so that goof on the Antonio Brown commentary, I have a question about Brown. So I know last year the Cardinals traded a third and a fifth to move up to the 10th pick to grab Rosen, and there's a lot of talk that they want to take Murray at the first pick, and I wonder if we traded AB in one of your cheap suits.
I knew he was in cohorts with the other guy.
Yeah.
All right, it's one of those.
Took him a long time to get to. People wait on hold a long time.
Well, I know we have their phone
for
numbers,
that,
so we'll make sure people get in touch back.
Absolutely.
412-575-2600 is the number. He took a different approach. He wanted to lull me into, which he did. That's fine. If you want to play that game, go ahead.
Bob, I love you.
I just don't understand why people waste
usually
so much time.
Usually they ridicule me, not you.
I don't understand when people waste so much time waiting online for something like that. I think it indicates a lot about their specific lives. We'll take a break, come back with more right after this.